Imagine you got a fire, Jack. Work on your what? Wow.
Still here, I'll be.
Ang.
Am I just flying UAV or? Yo, what's going on YouTube? In today's video, we're going over the best settings for AMD graphics cards for the new Warzone Black Ops 7 Season 1. Now, with Season 1 comes relaxed skill-based matchmaking in Call of Duty Warzone. However, to make sure you get consistently low SBMM lobbies, you need to use a VPN called LobbyGod. Now, LobbyGod removes all skill-based matchmaking and gets you into easier lobbies on Warzone and Black Ops 7. It works on all current platforms, Xbox, PlayStation, mobile, PC, and including the Xbox PC Game Pass. And right now, you can get a 3-day free trial with no credit card required. There are tons of server locations and they're constantly adding new ones. It's easy to set up in under 2 minutes. Let me show you how to do it. To set up LobbyGod, all you got to do is follow the link in the description or in the pinned comments and it'll take you to lobbygod.com. When you're here, click on the top right where it says free trial and you need to create a LobbyGod account. Once you're in, you can use the mission checklist below to activate LobbyGod on your network. First, you need to set up your gaming device by selecting PC, Xbox, PlayStation, mobile, or other. Once you finish setting up LobbyGod, you go back to the website and select whichever lobby server you would like to connect to. And the best part about it is there is no lag and there is no packet loss with this VPN. And now you're set up to play Warzone and Black Ops 7 without any skill-based matchmaking. So make sure you click on the link below in the description or in the pinned comments to get your 3-day free trial right now. All right, let's get into the best settings. Let's go. All right, so first things first, we're going to do our Windows settings. So we're going to go down to the search bar and we're going to type game mode. And we're going to open up game mode settings. Now, once this is open, we want to make sure that game mode is turned on. There's optimize your PC for player by turning things off in the background. Next, we go into the related settings. This is the graphics tab. Click on that one there. And we're going to make sure that the optimize for Windows games is turned on there. Click on the advanced graphics settings. And then make sure hardware accelerated GPU scheduling is also turned on there. And then we go down to the custom settings for applications. We're going to find our Call of Duty game. Click on the down arrow and make sure the GPU preference is set to high performance and your graphics card. So mine's the Radeon RX 9070 XT. And that also the Windows games optimization is also turned on. If you can't find your game, make sure you add it through add a desktop app. And you can search for your game wherever that is and add it through that way too. And then do these steps. Once you're done with that, you can close out of that one. Next, we're going to go into our File Explorer. We're going to open that up. We're going to go to our This PC, and we're going to search Activision. And we're going to hit Enter. Now, you need to wait quite a while until you get the second folder here pop up, the Activision, under the local drive. So open up that one. Go Call of Duty, and then into Players, and then to s.1.0.cod25.txt0. We're going to open that, and we're going to open that with the notepad. And once we're in here, we're going to press Control F, and we're going to type the word thread. And you're going to find thread count for handling the job queue. Now, you want to set this to roughly between 6 and 8, depending on your CPU. You need to play around with it a little bit. What's going to work best for you depends on your CPU and how many cores you have. I have this set to 7. And then once you find that specific number, you're going to go File, and then you're going to save, and you can close out of that one. Right now, we're all done with the Windows settings. We're going to go into the game, and we're going to change and get the best settings we can for max FPS visibility and to reduce latency. Let's get into it. Right now that we're in the game, we're going to press Start. We're going to go over to our settings cog. We're going to go down to graphics settings. Right, so for these graphic settings, display mode, we're going to put it on full screen borderless. You can use full screen exclusive. This will give you slightly less input latency, but it really is minimal and you won't notice the difference. So I put mine on full screen borderless because I like to tab out and have multiple monitors. Make sure your display monitor is currently set to your monitor of preference. As you can see, it's my 240 Hz monitor right in front of me. So that's what I have it set to. Display adapter, this is going to be your graphics card, so make sure this is on your graphics card and not your integrated graphics if you have one in your CPU. So mine's the 9070 XT, as you can see here. The screen refresh rate and display resolution, make sure that screen refresh rate is set to your monitor's refresh rate and your resolution to your monitor's resolution. So mine's a 1440p monitor. If it's a 1080, it's going to be a 1080p right here. If this is locked for you, you need to go to full screen exclusive and change it however you like, and then you can change it back to the borderless. Aspect ratio is going to be set to automatic. The display gamma is set to 2.2. Gamma and brightness, I set mine to 55, but this is preference. You can set it however you wish. Hit apply when you're done. AMD Radeon anti-lag we currently have turned on. I do like this at the moment, so make sure you have that one turned on. Eco mode preset, custom VSync we have off. VSync menus off. And custom frame rate you have set to unlimited. You can obviously, if you wish, set this to the hertz of your monitor. So if I wanted, I could set this to 240 and it would cap my frames at 240. However, they can go lower than that, obviously. Reduce menu render resolution we have set to optimal. Pause game rendering off. Reduce quality when inactive off. Focus mode at 0. HDR we have off as well. And now over to the quality tab. For render resolution, we have this set to our monitor's refresh rate at 100%, so 2560 by 1440. Dynamic resolution we have turned off. Our upscaling, so our sharpening method, we're using Fidelity CAS, and we have that set to 70. AMD FSR frame generation we have turned off. We don't want to turn this on. Yes, it will give you more frames. However, it will give you input latency and frame latency, and we don't want that no matter what anyone else says. Ray tracing, reflections, we have this turned off because this will use a ton of GPU resources. Have that one turned off. VRAM scale target we set to 70. This actually helps if you're getting a lot of crashes. If you have this set to higher and you are experiencing crashes in the game, do set this to lower. Variable rate shading, turn that one on because it will give you more FPS in game. Details and textures. Texture resolution, I have this set to normal. If you have a more lower end GPU, you can obviously change this to low and very low to have less effect on the VRAM. I've set mine to normal. Texture filter anisotropic we have set to low. Depth of field on off. Detail quality set to low. Particle resolution on very low. As you can see, we don't want all those sort of sparks and everything flying around in the background, which take up visual noise. Bullet impacts we have turned off. You can turn this on if you prefer obviously the bullet impacts. It will have very minimal effect on your frames. However, I still have mine turned off. Persistent effects turned off. Shader quality set to low. On-demand texture streaming set to optimized. And we click on the down arrow and we set this to 64. Download limits on off. Local streaming quality set to low. In-game video quality on low. Shadow and lighting. Shadow quality on very low. Screen space shadows on off. Occlusion and screen space lighting off. Screen space reflections off. Static reflection quality low. Environment, we have terrain quality on very low. Volumetric quality on low. Deferred physics quality is off. Weather grid volume quality off. Water quality is off. And that's all you need for that one. Into the view tab, we're going to set our field of view to whatever it is you normally play on. For me, it is 120. If you normally play on 110, stick to 110. If you want to try 120, go for it. However, make sure you're not chopping and changing because it will make it a little more difficult to hit your shots in game if you keep changing it up. ADS field of view, we're going to have this set to affected. Weapon field of view, we have set to wide. Third person field of view at 90. With a vehicle field of view is set to wide also. And now the worst settings you can possibly have in the game. The world motion blur, we don't want any blur. We turn that off. Weapon motion blur, we also have that one turned off as well. First person camera movement set to least 50. Third person camera movement least 50. Third person ADS transition is third person ADS. Inverted flashbang, I prefer to have this one on, so when a flashbang does hit me, it's going to flash black and not blind me with a white color at 2 a.m. in the morning. Parachute camera perspective we have as first person. Over to the interface tab. In the interface tab here, we've got menu prompts, automatic, gameplay tips on, skip introduction movie. We're going to put that one on because I don't want to see the introduction movie time I open the game. Skip kill cam we'll leave off because we want to see those kill cams. So I spot the cheaters and all that. Telemetry down here, this is for your counters on the left, top left of your screen. So I have FPS, server latency, and packet loss turned on, but obviously feel free to turn on what you want. Telemetry label size, we have set to default. Network in-game alert icons on, so that tells you little icons pop up if you're experiencing latency, packet burst, packet loss, if you get disconnected or anything like that. So I have those turned on, they're quite helpful. Hardware in-game alert icons, if your GPU temp's high, you get a shader warning as well if you're still installing your shaders. The readability, so this is pretty much all standard for me here. What we're going to do is go down into our customization, our color customization. You can obviously change your colors for whatever it is you like in here, but the most important one you want right here is the color filter settings. Color filter to set to color filter 2. Color filter target set to both, and make sure world intensity and interface intensity is set to 100. In the gameplay HUD, the HUD widget's obviously on with the mini map visible. HUD info visibility is on. As you can see, all those things here are pretty much standard. You can change your HUD bounds if you wish, to bring in your map or anything like that closer, so you don't have to look so far left and right. It might be helpful if you're on a widescreen monitor. Tac sprint stamina bar. So this is actually a new one. If you want to put on this tac sprint stamina bar, We're going to leave ours off because it just takes up things in the screen. I don't really need it on. We're not text printing too much now that the new Warzone has taken out text printing and made it into a perk. Vehicle HUD prompts fade after 10 seconds. That's fine. Buy station closed when damaged. That's fine. Weapon inspect, attachment info. We have on because we want to see what the info is with the attachments when we're inspecting a gun. Custom ping duration. We just have that set to standard. Kill feed duration, I have this set to default. You can obviously make this longer if you wish to see the kill feed longer on the left side in the chat. Radar, we have off. Mini-map rotation is on. Map assist as auto sensor. Compass we have turned on. Crosshairs, now this is really important. I have mine set to static and the crosshair line spread off. So what that means is it's set to static. It doesn't move around your screen. And the lines also don't go bobbing left and right and up and down. So we make sure we have that turned off. Crosshair dot is also static as well, and leave your crosshair dot scale at default. If you want that bigger, you can obviously change that to larger or largest. Crosshair opacity at 100%. Crosshair color you can also change as well. If you wish, you can make it whatever color you like, something that's a little bit easier to see than, say, the white. I have mine set to the sort of greeny, bluey sort of a color. And then once you set that color, you hit apply custom color, and it sets to your crosshair color. Hit marker visuals we have turned on. Damage based hit markers we have on. Motion reduction off, horizontal line preset off. Advanced motion control, we're not really doing anything in here. That's kind of more for your motion your motion settings, which you're not playing around with too much. Right now into the audio settings. Over here with the audio settings, this is going to be a little bit by preference based on your headset you're using. But however, game master volume, make sure that's always set to 100 unless you're on, say, like a console or something like that, which you probably wouldn't be using the settings. But if you are, you can also bring that down. But for a PC, always keep it on 100, and you can use other ways to turn down volume. Your gameplay music volume, I have that set to 0. It is distracting in your game. You don't want that one turned up. Game dialogue volume, use preference, but I have mine set to 38. Effects volume, this is where your footsteps are, so make sure your effects volume is still at 100. Cinematic music volume, once again, a distraction for you in game, so make sure you have the one set all the way to 0. Your audio device, mine is going to be the Art Tune. I use the Art as War Tune. Use what you will. That's going to be basically your sound device, so where your music is, your speakers are going to be coming into. Speaker output to 7.1. Enhanced mode, I don't use. Audio mix for me, I'm using Triarch Mix at the moment. Seems to work best for footsteps. Headphone bass cut works pretty well also. Mono audio is off. Mute game when minimize off. Mute licensed music, I have that turned on because when I'm streaming, I don't want any licensed music playing through and getting me banned. Asymmetrical hearing compensation, that's turned off. Reduced tinnitus sound, we have turned on. So this will reduce those sort of loud shell shock noises from concussions and grenades and everything like that. So have tinnitus sound turned on. Over to voice chat volumes by preference, whatever you need to be able to hear the voice chat loud enough into your own headset. I have mine set to 24. Voice chat is obviously on. Proximity chat we're going to have turned on. Body shield chat on. Game chat voice is all lobby, so we can hear everyone. Voice chat output device, make sure that is set to your output device. So for me, that's actually going to be my system on my Go XLR. For you, it's going to be your headset. Communication preset is off. Microphone level, this is going to be your microphone into game, which you can test down here by testing it. Microphone mode, I have mine set to push to talk because I do use the pedal. If you want to be heard in game, make sure you turn the one that's open mic. Mute game when connecting to chat channel is off, and microphone input, this is going to be your microphone. For me, that's my chat mic. If you've got a headset, it's going to be your headset microphone, so make sure that one's set to that. Over to the controller settings, we are using a controller for Call of Duty. The button layout is going to be whatever you normally use. For me, I use tactical. You can change this obviously to default, which will normally be anyway. Stick sensitivity, horizontal and vertical. Make sure you play around with these and see what works best for you. It is all controller based, so there is no sort of set settings that are going to work better for you. Make sure you use whatever's going to work smoothest. Controller vibration, we make sure that one's turned off. Dead zone inputs, very, very important. You can test your dead zones. Make sure you test those and see if you do have any stick drift. If you do, you can increase the left stick up until you don't get any more stick drift. I have none, so I have mine set to 0. The closer to 0, the better. Left stick max set to 60. Right stick minimum, same thing once again. If your right stick is getting stick drift, you can set this up to stop the stick drift. Right stick max set to 99, and make sure your left and right trigger is set all the way to 0. Over to the aiming tab, sensitivity multiplier. The only one we changed here is ADS sensitivity multiplier. We put that as 0.85. The look and vision on foot is standard. The aim advanced settings, we go into here. Make sure your sensitivity transition time is on instant. Third person is on assist. Aim response to curve type. Everyone's still using dynamic. We keep on dynamic and we don't play with curve slope. Sensitivity per zoom, we don't have that one turned off. Target aim assist, obviously we want that on. Otherwise, why are we on a controller? Same with ADS aim assist as well. And these are your motion sensor functions, which we don't use. Over to the movement, I still have it on tactical sprint assist. And make sure your sprint assist delay is set to 0 with assist sideways and backward is turned on. Mantle assist we have off. We don't want to be mantling by mistake. Crouch assist also turned off. Corner sights, this is when you bob and weave to the left and right when you're looking around a corner. I don't like it, so I have mine turned off. Wall jump assist we also have turned off as well. We don't want to be, wall jumping when we don't need to. Slide dive behavior, you see just however you like. However, choose hybrid or slide only. If you want to slide and dive, you use hybrid. If you want to only slide, use slide only for the least amount of input. Delay. Sprint restores sprint restore. I have this one turned on. Slide maintain sprint we have turned on. Parachute automatic behavior is off. We don't want the parachute basically popping when you're close to the ground. We want to be able to control it so we can get closer to the ground. Wall jump activation is press. Combat roll is, we're going to put that as off actually. I don't want to do the combat roll assist. Slide combat roll behavior, tap to slide. Combat roll camera set to third person. Movement advanced settings in here, not too many changes. Tactical sprint activation set to single tap sprint. Make sure that one's turned on. Plunging underwater, we're going to set to free and make sure sprinting door bash is turned on. Over to the combat side, not too many differences in here as well. Make sure you change to your whatever preference it is for you in this body shield. Finishing move behavior, I want to see, we're going to prioritize body shield. That's way more fun. Armor plate behavior set to apply all. So you put on all plates because you can always cancel them after you do 1 or 2, whatever you prefer. But make sure it's set to apply all. C4 detonation 1 by 1, so we're not throwing one and then another one and with a delayed before we blow it up. Equipment behavior set to hold. Manual fire behavior is press. Combat advanced settings in here, we're going to make sure that the interact reload behavior for Call of Duty Warzone is going to be set to prioritize interact, not prioritize reload like you normally would in a multiplayer setting. Mantle cancels reload is off. Sprint cancels reload as turned off. Very, very important those two. Make sure they're turned off. Akimbo behavior is independent and depleted weapon ammo switch. I have this turned on, so when I run out of ammo in a weapon, it automatically switches to the next one. And the overlay behaviors, we don't really play with these at all. You can have a little look at them later. Right, that is everything for the in-game settings. Let's go over to the AMD Adrenalin software where we can look at squeezing out some more performance and increase that visual look for your monitor as well. Let's go. All right, now that we're in the AMD Adrenalin software, first thing we're going to do is make sure everything's up to date. We're going to go to manage updates and it's going to open your installer and you make sure that your drivers are basically up to date in here. I generally have mine set to automatically keep AMD up to date. As you can see, look, I've got a new AMD software Adrenalin edition ready to be updated. Sorry, that was already installed from having it updated. There's a couple of other AMD things I don't really want, but make sure if you've got a driver in here that is up to date and you can close that one. Now we're going to go over to the gaming tab and we're going to find our game, which is going to be Call of Duty. We're going to open that one up here. In the gaming experience, now you can change this to the global experience, which will use the same settings for all games. However, you can use and run these as a custom experience as well. So Radeon Super Resolution disabled, Fluid Motion Frames disabled, Fidelity Super 4 Resolution 4 disabled, Anti-lag, we do have this one enabled as well. So we've got it enabled on the software side in game and we've got it enabled in the driver side in this Adrenalin software as well. Radeon Chill we have disabled. Image sharpening I have disabled because we use Fidelity Cast, which is a sharpening tool in the game. Enhancing as disabled. Wait for vertical refresh rate off unless specifies. Anti-aliasing, use application settings. Aliasing method, multi-sampling. Morphological anti-aliasing is disabled. Anisotropic filtering, we have it enabled and I have mine set to 16 times. So this improves your texture clarity. If you have a lower end GPU, try lowering this to see if it looks okay in your game and if your card can basically handle it. Because I got the 9070 XT, 16X, there's absolutely no problems. Texture filtering quality is standard. Surface format optimization disabled. Tessellation mode, AMD optimized. And open triple buffering is disabled. Over to the side here, which is the custom color side. You just got to click on the custom color, select that one there, and make sure you have that enabled, color temperature control as enabled. The only thing we're going to change here is the saturation. We're going to increase that to 125. So that's from 100 to about 125, and that's going to bring out the colors in the game and make the game a lot more brighter and easier to see things in shadows and everything like that. And it'll make the game look nicer overall. Over to the little settings cog here on the top right, and we're just going to quickly have a look at these. In the display, we're going to make sure our monitor is obviously selected here, which is our display monitor 1. We're going to make sure AMD FreeSync is turned off. I don't use that. The super resolution disabled. GPU scaling disabled. Scaling, all these scaling things turned off. Your color depth, make sure it's set to 8 BPC or the highest you possibly can. And your pixel format as RGB 4x4x4. In the performance tab up here on the top right under tuning, so I currently have a Intel CPU, but if you are one of those lucky people who have an Intel CPU and an AMD GPU, you will have something over here on this right side called SAM or Smart Access Memory. Now you want to make sure you enable Smart Access Memory to get some more performance out of your game. And yeah, make sure you're using that one and resizable bar as well. All right, guys, that is everything for this video that we have to increase performance, reduce latency, and make your game still visually appealing. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and make sure to hit the bell notification to be notified of content uploads and live streams. We'll catch you in the next one.